Hi everyone, this is your exam, released exam 2015, 11 through 45. So as usual, I have the hard copy with you so you can write along with me, and a calculator would be helpful. So what is the zero of, this is 41, r of x equals 8 over 3x minus 16. And what they're looking for, when they're looking for this, when they say the word zero, they're looking for the x-intercepts. So where does it cross the x-axis? And that means y would be 0. So this is actually your y. And I'm going to rewrite it as y. And I'm going to solve and find my x here. So I'm going to let y be 0. Add 16 to both sides. And then to get rid of the 8/3, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, which is 3/8. Because this equals 1, so you just get x, but you have to multiply on both sides. You can use a calculator. What I do is I say 8 goes into 16 2 times. 2 times 3 is 6. So your answer is C, which is 6. Okay? The next one's a word problem. You know these ones that are bubble in? They're actually easier than the multiple choice. So just because it's a bubble in question doesn't mean it's harder. It's actually easier problems. So make sure you do the problems that are the bubble questions. So basically, we've got airport, we've got parking 1 and parking 2. And it says the cost of parking at airport 1 is 16 a day. So it's 16. And parking 2 is 25% less to park. It's park. So basically, if you don't know what this 25% of 16 is 1/4 of 16, which is 4. And so 16 minus 4 is 12. So that's kind of just intuitive. So 25% is like 1/4, and then you subtract 4 from 16. All right? If it was 50% less, it would be $8. So think of it that way. Now, so this is parking 2, parking 4. It says, what would the savings be in dollars and cents for parking 6 days in each parking? So what I'm going to do is multiply this by 6 and this by 6. And when I multiply parking 1 by 6, I get 96. And parking 2, I get 72. So parking 2 is a lot cheaper, but how much cheaper? You just subtract, and you get 24. So this is a very intuitive problem, and it's not one you want to skip just because it's not multiple choice. The next question is, how are these two functions different? You're welcome to put this in the calculator and check it out. If you want to do that. What I notice is that my y-intercepts are the same, so those aren't different at all. My slopes are not the same. That means they're not parallel. They're also not perpendicular. If they were perpendicular, the slopes would look like this. It would have a negative, because it's called perpendicular slopes has negative reciprocal. I do know that P is less steep than Q, because 5/8 is smaller than 8/5. So P is less steep than Q, so that means my answer is B. Again, you should have the the test. So P is less steep than the graph of Q. You could also do this just by graphing it and do it that way. All right. This is just so written so complicated, and they give you the length that is 0.56 width less than the 28 feet. And they want to know what is the width in feet of the porch with the greatest area. So here's your feet on your y-axis. And here is my greatest area here. My greatest area is at my maximum. And my maximum, where is this? Here is 350. So they're looking for what is the width. The width is my x-axis. So I just go down straight down here, and I see that's at 25. So 25 feet is the width. Okay? And we didn't really even need this information here or here. We just looked at the graph. All right. Now I can see where this problem would be a little complicated. So we have two different sentences here. Sentence 1 is here. All right. And I want to make an equation using that. So her profit is 2,800. She bought 600 t-shirts. So that's going to be a debit to her. She's out of money. That means it's going to be a minus. All right. Let me see. Let me get the paper. So she bought this, and that's for C dollars. So that's minus 600 C. But she sold 500 of them. That's your profit. Okay? So that's the first equation. And then we do the same thing with the second sentence. The profit is 2,400. She bought 400, and that's the cost of C dollars. So she's out 400 times whatever it cost. So if it costs $1 each, that she's out 400. But she sold them all, which is 400 of them, and made a profit. So that's your equation, and the answer to that is A. All right? Okay, that's all for this set. The next set is going to be 46 through 50. Have a nice day.